Everywhere I go, when I speak, I'm asked, where do you get your optimism? How can I not be optimistic after listening to 16-year-old Mary? Thank you for giving us the faith to believe that the world can be improved. And thank you for telling this generation what they've done wrong. Yesterday, it was a privilege to listen to Bill Clinton, and he would certainly make an incredibly impressive first lady. But I was struck by his take on identity. When he was talking about doctors who save lives versus doctors who take lives, those who define their identity by emphasizing our common humanity versus those who emphasize our interesting differences, Mr. Clinton artfully avoided giving either of them a name. And he's not alone. Our biggest obstacle in dealing with today's terrorism is our reluctance to call things by their name. We are a knowledge-based society. We have been taught to identify problems as accurately as possible and then tackle them. However, it has become common practice when problems are caused in the name of Islam to bend over backwards to avoid associating any of the symptoms, such as suicide bombers, with their professed cause, Islam. Bill Clinton talked about the doctors who wanted to kill and yet avoided the slightest mention of the belief system that spurred them to do so, Islamic theology. The Muslims who spread the message of hatred and carry out these attacks do so in the name of Islam and quote their prophet to justify their actions. Hassan Butt, who used to be a member of the British terrorist network, wrote a compelling op-ed piece last week in the London Observer in the wake of the recent thwarted attacks. And I want to share with you a few lines from it. Hassan Butt writes, "When I was still a member of what is probably best termed the British Jihadi network, I remember how we used to laugh in celebration whenever people on television proclaimed that the sole cause of Islamic acts of terror like 9/11, the Madrid bombings, and 7/7 was Western foreign policy." Hassan Butt, this ex-jihadi, goes on to say, "By blaming the government for our actions, those who pushed the Blair bombs line did our propaganda work for us. More important, they also helped to draw away any critical examination from the real engine of our violence, Islamic theology." I can totally relate to what Hassan Butt is saying. When I was a fervent believer, I fully and wholeheartedly supported the fatwa against Salman Rushdie and the burning of his novel. I can tell you the last thing on my mind was Western foreign policy. I was 16. So, ladies and gentlemen, what can we do? First and foremost, we must begin by calling things by their name. We must overcome our polite self-censorship and our fears. We must start acknowledging that Islam provides consistent argument to that doctor in Glasgow and many others to take human life, even though he was trained to save it. Our self-censorship does the propaganda work for the terrorists. We must break this spell. We must scrutinize Islamic theology. We must start competing for the hearts and minds of young people now on the brink of becoming jihadists. We, whoever we are, whether we are journalists, politicians, academics, or business people, we must find the courage to call things by their name. What can I do? I will not let you rest until I convince you. Thank you.